For millennia, the moon remained a permanent, silent fixture in the night sky, a destination located nearly 250,000 miles away. By the mid-20th century, that distance began to shift from a philosophical boundary to a mechanical one. The math and rocketry finally made it possible to treat the lunar surface as a physical destination. July 20th, 1969, served as the breaking point where the impossible became a recorded fact. NASA's objective was singular: deliver a crew to the lunar surface, facilitate a physical walk on the ground, and return them safely to Earth. Success on this date meant that human biological and technological limits were no longer tethered strictly to Earth's atmosphere. Breaking free of Earth's gravity required massive energy, provided by a launch vehicle designed to propel the Apollo 11 crew through the atmosphere at thousands of miles per hour. Once in flight, the mission relied on a network of thousands of scientists on the ground, who used high-precision tracking to guide the spacecraft blindly through a vacuum. The human element of the mission rested with three men: Neil Armstrong, Michael Collins, and Buzz Aldrin. The mission architecture was complex, relying on a craft that would split into two distinct parts: a command module for the return trip and a specialized lander for the lunar descent. As the lander began its drop towards the surface, the command module remained in a fixed circular orbit, acting as the only link to the trip home. Every second of the mission depended on this split system eventually reconnecting. Without a flawless rendezvous in orbit, the astronauts on the surface would have no way to exit the moon's gravity. Michael Collins maintained a vital solo role within the command module, surrounded by the machinery and wiring required to keep the spacecraft stabilized. His presence in orbit was the mission's lifeline. He provided the steady target that Armstrong and Aldrin would need to find to make it back to Earth. While Collins drifted in the silence of orbit, Armstrong and Aldrin were managing a high-stakes descent toward a surface covered in craters and bulges. The final moments of the descent required manual intervention to avoid hazardous terrain, with fuel supplies running critically low as they searched for a flat landing site. The immense tension finally broke as the lander's pads settled completely into the dust of the moon's surface. This landing converted years of theoretical orbital mechanics into a physical presence on a world outside our own. Neil Armstrong exited the craft and stepped onto the lunar soil, leaving distinct footprints in the foreground of the landing site. He marked the moment with words that would define the mission. "That's one small step for man, one giant leap for mankind." Back on Earth, millions of people were experiencing the event through a live broadcast, gathering in massive public squares to witness the landing together. That single footstep signified the successful completion of the most ambitious engineering goal in history. The success of Apollo 11 acted as a scientific catalyst, providing the data needed to plan much more ambitious explorations of the solar system. Proving that humans could survive and navigate long-distance spaceflight led directly to the development of orbital space stations like Skylab. It established the baseline technical confidence required to launch complex robotic probes toward other planets. July 20, 1969, remains the dividing line in history between a species confined to its home world and one that actively navigates the cosmos.